Plato is one of the most prominent philosophers of ancient Greece, belonging to the classical period, and he is one of the pylons of the entirety of Western civilization, founding the Academy, the first institution of higher learning in the entire Western world. His philosophy is referred to as Platonic Idealism. Along with Socrates, his mentor, and Aristotle, his student, Plato is one of the most influential individuals in the entire history of humankind. He invented the written dialogue and the dialect form of philosophy. Some of his most famous books are The Republic, The Symposium, The Apology of Socrates, Allegory of the Cave, and The Dialogues of Plato, in which the main character is Socrates, who influenced Plato's philosophy to a great extent. Even after 2,400 years, Plato's work is still popular and relevant today. For Plato, one of the main purposes of learning philosophy is to enable one to live a fulfilled life. This state of fulfillment or well-being was named by the ancient Greek philosophers as eudaimonia. For Plato, eudaimonia is strongly related to virtue. Plato's main ethical view is that the unjust man's soul, without virtue, is chaotic and at war with itself. Even if we satisfy all our desires and wishes, if we're not in harmony with ourselves and with the community of people around us, we cannot achieve eudaimonia. To help you better understand what Plato believed defined a fulfilled life and how we can achieve eudaimonia, here are 9 lessons from the philosophy of Plato. Number 1. Educate yourself. Plato said, "The direction in which education starts a man will determine his future life." For Plato, the founder of the Academy, education is a crucial aspect in one person's life. Plato gave education the highest priority, creating a curriculum for his school which was also teaching young people how to control their emotions and their appetite. He believed that without his self-control and without a proper knowledge of how this world works, an individual can easily engage in damaging activities that will have negative consequences on their life and on the lives of other people. One cannot have a fulfilled life without a proper education. Also, Plato believed that each stage of life needs a different type of education. He was influenced by the Spartan system of education. The main difference between Athenian education and the Spartan one was that in Athens, education was not state-controlled, while in Sparta it was, although it was done much more poorly. Plato thought that education should be compulsory and it should start at an early age, and that education should be divided into 2 parts: elementary education and higher education. The elementary education should last 10 years and it should include physical education, musical education, storytelling and poetry, but also a bit of mathematics, history and science. From there, students should then pass an exam to go on to higher education, which would then last another 10 years. If the student doesn't pass, he can still become a businessman, a clerk, a worker, or a farmer and the like. Therefore, higher education is not compulsory. The one that is compulsory is only the elementary part, from which the physical and musical education, storytelling and poetry are the most important. Musical education that takes place in the earliest years of childhood helps in shaping the children's souls, making them more connected with their emotions. Then there is education through tales that happens at a later stage in childhood, when children can learn what it means to be good or bad and can follow the model of a hero. Then comes education through poetry or by reciting the tales, which can develop the sense of rhythm and harmony in young people, as well as speaking skills. And there's also gymnastic education, as a healthy brain cannot reside in an unhealthy body, and according to the ancient Greeks, gymnastics prevents many kinds of illnesses. Therefore, in order for people to achieve easier fulfillment in life, a proper education in different stages and types is mandatory. No matter what education you've achieved in life so far, you can continue educating yourself. Read books, learn to play an instrument, start practicing a sport, and so on. For example, you can start your morning routine with some gymnastics, and in the evenings read great books and play a musical instrument, or learn another type of skill or craft. The sense of harmony you'd get from such a structured life around self-development would prevent you from indulging in damaging activities in life, like wasting your life binge-watching streaming shows, eating unhealthy junk food, partying too much and damaging your body, or living a sedentary life, being immoral and hurting other people, or being stuck in your job that you hate because you refuse to learn a new skill, and so on. Make your own curriculum for your self-education. Create your own habits which can help you feel happier and more fulfilled. Number 2. Have an active life. In the words of Plato, lack of activity destroys the good condition of every human being. Physical exercise was a very important part of Greek culture. In ancient Greece, your level of physical fitness would have been the same as the level of honor within your community. For Plato, exercise was even more. He described it as a beautiful activity of the soul, being able to reduce the impulsivity and prevent people from being pulled to the ground. Therefore, in some way, by doing physical activity, we show how much we care about our soul. It's a way of fighting diseases and death and staying in touch more with our spiritual side. When we do sports, certain hormones are released, such as endorphins, often referred to as the happiness hormones, making us feel happier and more in control. Plato thought that practicing sports can guarantee you 3 types of pleasures in life. Number 1. Material pleasure. Besides the fact that sports can help us make money if we practice it in a professional way, sports also has an indirect material pleasure, as it generally makes us healthier, fitter, and more physically attractive, which can help one attract better-looking mates. Number 2. Honor and victory. Although there are many exceptions, it's often the case that a good-looking person who's also physically fit is awarded a higher status in society. And finally, number 3. The pleasure of knowledge and thought. Plato, like many other ancient Greek thinkers, believed that there is a wisdom of the body. Through practicing sports, we expand that wisdom. We train ourselves to be more patient, to have more courage, and Plato viewed courage as a virtue of reason. Thus, practicing sports nourishes our capacity for reasoning and acquiring knowledge. From all 3 types of pleasures derived from sports, the last type of reward is regarded by Plato as being the most valuable, as it doesn't depend on the behavior and recognition of others. By practicing sports, you get into a competition with yourself. For Plato, self-competition is the highest union between body and soul. When you are in competition with yourself, you practice the art of self-control. You learn to know yourself better, to know your limits, and find ways to overcome them. When you practice sports, you learn how to overcome your limits, how to control your urges and impulses, how to release the stress in your life, and ultimately, your chance for a long and healthy life increases. Therefore, to have a fulfilled and long life, never go more than a day without a workout, without trying to overcome your physical limits. Number 3. Avoid anger at all costs. According to Plato, there are 2 things a person should never be angry at: what they can help and what they cannot. In his work Timaeus, Plato explained how gods sculpted the body of men around their immortal soul, and inside the body they created another type of soul which is mortal and is governed by impulses oscillating between extremes. Extremes like pleasure and pain, rashness and fear, anger and hope. Therefore, anger is an extreme, and it's a terrible impulse which we must avoid. We might feel a sort of pleasure when we're angry, when we feel the urge to get revenge for ourselves from other people. But this pleasure doesn't last long, and it's often followed by feelings of guilt or shame. In order to live a fulfilled life, we need to avoid the extremes. It would be much better to keep a sense of calm and allow ourselves to think before reacting with anger when bad things happen. If you can do something about the situation, then just focus on the action. Don't be angry and waste your energy in this destructive emotion. If you can't do anything about it, then simply make peace with the situation and move on. For example, imagine a moment that makes you really angry. Perhaps your best friend betrayed you, revealing some damaging information about you to your family. Information that you fought for many years to keep a secret. When you hear such a betrayal, don't consume yourself with anger towards your best friend, shouting at them or getting revenge in some way. It's better to take a step back, acknowledge that the fact is done. Your family now knows your secret, and the only thing you can do is explain yourself to them, and to start trying to repair everything that can be repaired. And if others decide to stay angry at you because you kept that secret from them for so long, just make peace with this fact and remain calm. Perhaps in time they will change their minds. Remember that you can't control how others react to you, but you can control how you behave from now on. In this kind of situation, you might decide to break up with that friend and be more careful from now on to not confide in untrustworthy people. A fulfilled life is composed of fulfilled days, in which you don't allow yourself to be triggered by destructive emotions such as anger. Number 4. Be content with little. Plato teaches us that the greatest wealth is to live content with little. Plato is often considered to be one of the main founding fathers of Western spirituality and religion. Nowadays, the Western world is focusing on how to achieve more and faster and has started to lose its anchor in Christianity. Nevertheless, it's a good practice to go back to the ancient wisdom to discover what mindset can really make us happy. Not only Plato, but also many other ancient philosophers emphasized the importance of knowing how to be content with little. Most of us spend decades of our lives trying to achieve a certain position in our work, status in our industry, or a certain financial level, just to make others and/or ourselves proud and content. We may want to feel appreciated by others, envied by others, but unfortunately, these desires push us towards an unhealthy and unhappy lifestyle. We spend most of our time at work, skipping social engagements with our friends and relatives, sometimes neglecting our personal lives, living more sedentary lives, all being sacrificed to reach a distant goal which might not even make us happy if we do achieve it. Achieving a milestone makes us happy just for a moment. Instead of running for prizes and fame, build a system of routines which can make you feel happy and valuable for others at the same time. You don't need to give up on the quest to achieve something significant in life, but you do need to give up your unhealthy ambition to accumulate more and more and keep only the ambition to build steadily, at a pace which allows you to take care of your health, enjoy the view, and nurture your relationships. Number 5. Live honorably. To quote Plato, "The man who is conscious of no wrongdoing is filled with cheerfulness and with the comfort of old age." For Plato, happiness is deeply connected to ethics. One needs to live an honorable life, a life of virtue if they want to achieve eudaimonia, meaning to have a happy and fulfilling life. The word eudaimonia is sometimes attributed to Plato, while other scholars say that his followers were the ones who brought up the concept. Nevertheless, Plato's teachings were the base for the concept of eudaimonia as being connected to having a life of virtue. In his work, The Republic, Plato made the case against the idea that living virtuously is actually preventing you from achieving eudaimonia. One of the characters of The Republic, the sophist Thrasymachus, said that if eudaimonia is to be achieved through the satisfaction of desire, whereas being just or acting justly requires suppression of desire, then it is not in the interests of a strong man to act according to the dictates of conventional morality. Plato's argument against this premise is that being virtuous is a harmonious state of the soul, and if we lose this state, we cannot be happy. When you know that all of your actions were sincere, and you took into account both your happiness and the happiness of others in any decision, you can sleep well at night. However, if you did something bad which harmed other people, you know that those people will come after you, that you won't be able to face them as before without a feeling of guilt, and therefore you wouldn't be able to sleep well at night. To have a truly fulfilling life, you need to live in harmony with other people, and this requires for you to respect the social contract you have with society. And that society is composed of all the people around you. To be happy and have a harmonious life, always do the right thing. Don't break the law. Be honest, and don't betray the people around you. Number 6. Be in charge of your own happiness. As we learn from Plato, the man who makes everything that leads to happiness depend upon himself and not upon other men has adopted the very best plan for living happily. As for his teacher, Socrates, happiness is for Plato a form of personal growth. Happiness can be assured if you stop expecting other people to make you happy, but rather make your own happiness. Plato believed that only that type of man who is in charge of his own happiness has a truly manly character and wisdom. Plato's life is a great example of that. He lived a long life, surrounded by great teachers such as Socrates and great students such as Aristotle. And he was recognized for all his achievements by Athenian society. He is one of the first philosophers who came up with a rigorous philosophical system laid down in writings, and he's the founder of one of the earliest known organized schools in Western civilization, the Academia. He was a man of great initiatives, being a first in many. He didn't expect others to come to him and help him, but rather he relied on himself and did in action most of the things he planned to do. As Plato, we should not complain of unhappiness, waiting for other people to make us happy. If your happiness means to have success in your career and a happy family life, don't expect others to guarantee that for you. In your career, don't wait to get promoted, but rather learn new skills every day, increase your performance, and if your boss doesn't notice you, find another company, and don't wait for anybody. In your personal life, if you feel you don't have enough happiness in your relationship, try to change your behavior. Come up with pleasant surprises, cook a nice dinner, take your partner to a new place in town, or give them a thoughtful gift. If what you do is not enough, have a discussion and try to find the reason, and try to fix the issue. Take a proactive attitude in all sectors of your life, and remember that life is too short and you need to make your happiness a priority. Number 7. Find inspiration in music. Plato considers that music gives soul to the universe and wings to the mind. Music was everywhere in ancient Greece. It was an essential part of ancient Greek culture, being present in religious festivals, marriage and funeral rites, and banquet gatherings. Many great thinkers of ancient Greece saw a connection between music and mathematics, music reflecting the perfect order of the cosmos and of the human soul. For Plato as well, music was not just a tool for entertaining. He emphasized that the rhythm and harmony we experience through music can make us reach a state of grace, of divine peace. Thus, music has a moral quality, connecting the people in a community when it's shared. We would lose so much in life if we don't give music enough of our time. Most of us have some knowledge of how beneficial music is, from how children can improve their learning abilities through music therapy, to how soothing it is to listen to sad songs when our heart's broken, or even how helpful music is for making introverts open up to the world, particularly children. Researchers proved that music gives us a boost of oxytocin. It has the power of increasing bonding and trust between people, and that's why it has such a powerful effect on our emotions. Thus, we should make sure to include a few minutes of music every day, be it for boosting our energy with some happy music, or soothing ourselves when we feel sad, dancing with our partner to our favourite song, or just enjoying ourselves with some background music while we prepare some reports for work. A day without music is a day wasted. Number 8. Find your soulmate. Plato believed that every heart sings a song, incomplete until another heart whispers back. Those who wish to sing always find a song. At the touch of a lover, everyone becomes a poet. Plato is the most famous philosopher regarding the theory of the soulmate. In his work Symposium, the character Aristophanes described how at the beginning there were only androgynes, and Zeus split them in half, and since then we humans are continuously looking to find our other half. The wound caused by Zeus makes us seek love. The loving relationships we have with other people can make us feel less suffering, but only when we find our real half can we be whole again, and we can put an end to our suffering. Therefore, to have a fulfilled life, it's important to give enough importance to our personal life, to invest effort into meeting new people, and to never stop seeking love until we find the right partner. The more happiness and peace you have, and the more accepted you feel in the relationship you have, the more sure you can be that this is the right partner for you. Although you might go through some difficult times together, if that sense of peace and wholeness is still there, then the relationship is worth fighting for. A real fulfillment in life cannot exist without having our soulmate beside us. Number 9. Care about the happiness of others. In our final quote from Plato for this video, he says, "In caring for the happiness of others, we find our own." Plato, like many other ancient philosophers, linked happiness with being moral. Thus, fulfillment in life, eudaimonia, has a strong root in being virtuous and in living an honourable life. Although in many regards Plato considered happiness as a self-sufficient state, everyone being responsible to create his or her own happiness, he was also aware of the different ways in which we can boost the feeling of being happy. One of these ways is to care for the happiness of others. Thus, we should not expect others to make us happy, but we need to help others be happy in order for us to be happy. Material pleasures such as gadgets, jewellery, apartments, cars and clothes, or physical pleasures such as sexual pleasure and eating good food have a limited influence on our real happiness. The pleasures of the body are limited, and real happiness should include striving to contribute to the common good of society. Only when we give contributions in helping others, making them happier, do we feel real life satisfaction. For example, if you feel anxious at your workplace because you feel that your performance is not the same as your colleagues, instead of worrying about your lack of skills, you should start asking yourself how you can best contribute to the team. Maybe you can come up with new ways to help your colleagues. Even if it's not technically part of your responsibilities, You can come up with new methods to approach a certain problem that a colleague is facing. The more you move the focus from satisfying your personal goals to helping your team, the more appreciated you'd be, and the more fulfilled you would feel.